The meaning of life is simply to live. That's a big idea from Alan Watts, a philosopher who loved shaking up how we see things. Let's start with a truth bomb that might just shake your whole world view. They told you freedom would come at 65. You know the story. Work hard, pay your dues, climb the corporate ladder, and eventually, when you hit that golden age, you'd be free. Free to travel, relax, finally live. Like boom, retirement hits, and suddenly you're the main character in your own life movie. Sounds perfect, right? Except here's the kicker. What if I told you this whole script was written by someone else? A script designed to keep you working, grinding, waiting for that one day that might never feel like today. And that's where the real self-improvement journey begins. Questioning the stories we've been handed and learning how to take back control of our own lives. See, most of us treat freedom like a place way down the road. We think all this hard work now is just something we have to get through before the real life begins. But what if freedom isn't some far-off prize? What if it's something we build every single day? More like a habit or a way of thinking than a final destination. It's like waiting for the weekend to start living, except the weekend is only 2 days out of the week, and life is a whole lot longer than that. So let's get real about how this cultural myth messes with our brain health and the whole idea of productivity hacks. Most of us grew up hearing the classic, work hard until you're old, and then maybe you'll be free story, like it's some ancient law handed down from the gods of cubicles and overtime. But here's the kicker. Buying into that story turns us into time's prisoners instead of time's bosses. The funny thing is, the harder we chase that golden future freedom, the more we forget to actually live in the only moment that really counts. Right now. It's like trying to fill a bucket that's got a hole in the bottom. No matter how much water you pour in, all your time, energy, and those fancy productivity hacks, it just keeps leaking out because the bucket itself, your mindset, is cracked wide open. This is exactly where a growth mindset and a little Stoicism philosophy come in to flip the whole script. Marcus Aurelius, the OG Stoic emperor, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Daily Stoic thinkers and even your friendly neighborhood life coaches remind us that true freedom isn't about controlling the world. It's about mastering how we respond to it. It's about emotional intelligence, so we don't let every little thing knock us off balance or mess with our self-worth. Stoic quotes aren't just some dusty old sayings, they're like productivity hacks for your brain. They teach us how to focus on what we can control and shrug off what we cannot. That builds resilience and self-control, the secret sauce for real personal growth and self-development. So yeah, it's kind of like hacking your own mind to become the CEO of your life instead of an unpaid intern. Now let's bust a myth that's been messing with our heads and our personal development for way too long. Here it is. Retirement means you finally get to stop working. Sounds dreamy, right? But here's the plot twist. Real freedom isn't about hanging up your hat and calling it quits. Nope. It's about choosing work that actually lights you up, that fits who you really are. It's turning your daily grind into something that feels more like self-expression than just punching a clock. Think about it. Some of the happiest, most fulfilled folks don't just stop creating or learning once they hit retirement. They keep going because they've got this growth mindset wired in. They get that personal growth isn't some weekend hobby or a phase you finish once you retire. It's a lifelong journey, like a Netflix series that just keeps getting better. So if you're dreaming of that freedom retirement, maybe it's time to rethink the script. Because freedom isn't about quitting work. It's about falling in love with the work you do every day. So here's the deal. Freedom isn't some finish line you sprint towards someday. It's more like that secret sauce you sprinkle into your daily life. And this is where emotional intelligence really steps into the spotlight. It's about knowing what you need, setting boundaries like a pro, and tuning into what actually makes you feel alive, not just what looks good on Instagram. The big lie about retirement? It tricks us into thinking we can just bank our best years for later, like saving vacation days that somehow multiply. Spoiler alert, that later often shows up fashionably late and a bit disappointing. Really, it's about flipping the script on time and self-control. Instead of being a slave to the never-ending hustle harder chant, you become the architect of your own life. You get to design a daily rhythm that's less about running on a hamster wheel and more about enjoying the ride, even if you're occasionally riding in circles. You're probably wondering, all right, that sounds nice, but how do I actually start living this way? Well, it begins with rethinking what productivity really means. It's not about piling more tasks onto your to-do list or running yourself ragged. Real productivity is about managing your energy and attention, because let's face it, your time is only as good as the focus you bring to it. Instead of trying to do everything, try doing less, but better. Embrace a kind of minimalist living, not just with the clutter around you, but with your schedule and even your thoughts. And don't underestimate the power of slowing down. Find a little slice of your day just for yourself, whether that's journaling, meditating, or simply taking a quiet walk without your phone buzzing in your pocket. Those small moments of presence might seem tiny, but over time, they stack up into real freedom and self-growth. After all, freedom isn't some distant prize at the end of the grind. It's what happens when you finally stop sprinting and start living. So how do you actually get started? Here's a little life hack for self-discipline and focus that won't make you want to run for the hills. Start with small wins. I'm talking tiny stuff, like waking up just 10 minutes earlier. Yes, 10 minutes, not a full hour. No need to become a morning monk overnight. Use that time to set your intention for the day, or maybe just stare at the ceiling and pretend you're planning world domination. Or spend 5 minutes on a quick mindfulness exercise before you dive into work. These tiny habits sneak up on you, and suddenly you're building momentum like a pro, reclaiming your brain from the endless scroll of distractions. Because here's the truth. Study motivation and productivity hacks aren't about flashy overnight transformations. They're about steady, sustainable rhythms. Think of yourself as a daily Stoic, consistent, calm, and way less dramatic than your email inbox. Now, you're probably wondering how all this mumbo-jumbo ties into brain health and those fascinating psychology facts we pretend to understand at parties. Well, turns out, when you master your mindset and flex your emotional intelligence muscles, you actually boost your brain's ability to focus and control those pesky impulses. That's right. Your brain becomes like a well-trained puppy instead of a hyperactive squirrel. This supercharges your personal growth and helps you dodge the burnout bullet, which is pretty much the occupational hazard of chasing success blindly. And here's a little insider tip. Knowing how your brain ticks lets you plan your day smarter. Knock out the hardest tasks when your focus is at its peak. Probably not right after lunch, sorry, leftovers, and save the mindless stuff for when you're running on low energy. This is exactly how life coaches guide folks to manage time better without sacrificing their sanity or soul. And here's the twist that makes this whole journey actually worth getting out of bed for. Real freedom and retirement, spoiler alert, they're not just some magical date on the calendar you circle in red and hope for like a holiday sale. Nope, it's about how you live every single day. Whether you're rocking 30, cruising through 45, or hitting the big 6-5. It's about reclaiming your time like a boss, flexing that emotional intelligence, yes, you do have some tucked away, and showing up for your own personal development every day no excuses. Once you get this mindset down, you stop waiting for someone's permission slip to live your best life. You quit postponing joy like it's a package stuck in customs and start creating meaning in every single moment, even the ones where you're just binge-watching your favorite show on the couch. So, if you're ready to rethink everything you thought about freedom and retirement, you're already on the path of self-improvement. Remember, this path isn't always easy. It asks you to challenge old beliefs, practice self-discipline, and embrace a growth mindset. But the payoff? A life where you are the author, not just the actor. And hey, if this sounds a bit heavy, don't worry. I promise BetterMe is here to keep it real and light. Because self-improvement is serious. But we don't have to be. For tuning in to BetterMe, join me next time, where self-improvement is serious, but we don't have to be.